Just before we get into today's video, guys, it is worth me pointing out this is simply a prediction. There's no point in getting angry down in the comments. It's just a prediction. It's a bit of fun. If you disagree, that's absolutely fine. Do get your predictions down below. As I say, it's a bit of fun. I'd be surprised if this is going to be entirely accurate, but who knows? This is just one man's opinion. Before we get into it, do make sure to hit that like button. We're going for 199 likes, and do make sure to subscribe for more Premier League content. Let's get into this. So then, guys, we are heading into the final stretch of the Premier League season. After this international break, everyone's going to play out their final games in April and May. I've spoken several times before about how many teams are involved in this Premier League relegation scrap. Let's give it a go at trying to predict it. As I say, do get your predictions down below. When I look at that table, one thing that stands out is no one is cut adrift and no one is definitely going to stay up. It really annoys me when people come out with the statement that this team is too good or this team is definitely going to stay up. If you're in this category, you've got to admit there is a chance you're going to go down this year. That's been said, then let's get on to predicting the bottom half of this Premier League table. As you can see, Aston Villa are 11 points clear of the next nearest team. So it's basically predicting 12th down. Let's start with these two teams that I think have, in my opinion, the strongest chance. These two sides I do think have quite a bit about them, and I do think they will survive this year. I'm going to start with Leeds United, who I do think will end the season quite strong. You can already see Grazia's gone in there and he started to pull Leeds away, and it isn't impossible they could get as high as 12th come the end of the season with it being so tight down here. It's 7 points in their last 4 games, and we all know that Leeds do have quality in their team. They show up quite well on the expected goals as well, so they just needed a manager to just go in there, sort things out and just push them in the right direction, and I do think that's what's going to happen with Leeds. That recent win away at Wolves is the one that's really stood out to me. The fact they've scored 4 goals and they scored 2 against Brighton just before that, I do think Leeds have got enough goals in them to carry them away from this. Once again, they are in the thick of it with it being so tight down here, but I just think Leeds will have a bit about them to stay up, and the same is going to be said with Wolves. Once again, a manager that's gone in there and has done a fantastic job. I know Wolves have been a little bit inconsistent in the last 4 games with 3 defeats in there, but I look at their remaining games and I can just see them getting enough points. If they can get over 36 this season, I do think that will carry them to safety, and I think Wolves and Leeds are both going to get to 39. They might get to 40, but these two are going to be the highest in my opinion. We'll move on to the next 3 teams that I think are going to be staying up, and it's Crystal Palace, Everton and Nottingham Forest. We'll start with Crystal Palace, who are probably in the worst form out of these bottom 9, but currently in the table sit the highest, and they have had a change in management. It could go one of 2 ways. They can continue their horrific run, or they can have a new manager bounce. Either way you look at it, I do think Palace are going to accumulate enough points. They've got a massive April where all of their games are against teams below them, so once again, if they go on a bad run, they'll be gifting points to those teams that could overtake Palace. But despite me thinking they might lose 1 or 2 or maybe 3 games in April, I think they will win a few as well and just keep themselves ahead of it. I know playing head-to-head games is high pressure, but you'd rather that than be playing Manchester City and Arsenal. So I do think Palace's favourable run-in will get them to safety, and maybe with the new manager bounce as well. Speaking of new manager bounce, I think Everton are also going to stay up, and it's because of one man, Sean Dyche. I don't look at their team and think it's a particularly amazing team. Yes, there's 1 or 2 good individuals in there, but it needed a manager like Sean Dyche to really tighten things up and grind out results, and I think they're going to continue to do that towards the end of the season and just get over the line. They've got 2 massive games right at the end when they go away to Wolves and host Bournemouth. I just think they're solid enough to just not lose those 6 pointers and get themselves to safety. Nottingham Forest are the team I've put in 16th. They do currently sit 16th in the table. Their form is not great at the moment. They've got 11 games remaining and have gone for them to pick up 10 points. Either 3 wins and 1 draw or 2 wins and 4 draws. I think they will lose a few games. They've still got the likes of Manchester United at home, Liverpool away, Brentford away. They're really tricky games. Chelsea away as well. But the home games against Wolves, Southampton, maybe even Brighton at home as well, and the away games to Leeds and Palace are the games they've really got to target. If it does go to that Palace game, well, that's the final game of the season, and the Forest fans will be nervous going into that. I just think they're just going to do enough to survive. We all know that they had a slow start, a really strong middle of the season with that incredibly long and beaten record at home. That is now over at the hands of Newcastle, but you just think they might be able to recapture that a bit and maybe just one more away win with a few points at home and they could just get over the line. Forest's survival chances could be dependent on other teams. That's not the way Nottingham Forest will want to look at it. They do need to pick up points themselves, but it's going to be close. But I do still stand with Nottingham Forest staying up. I've got them in 16th place here, 10 points from their final 11. Here we go then, guys, 17th and 18th. I've been pulling my hair out because this is going to be ridiculously tight, but I've gone for Leicester City and West Ham to finish on the same points. Leicester City to survive on goal difference. I do think goal difference is going to be what will keep a team up at the end of the season, whether it's Leicester and West Ham or two other teams. Just because of how close it is down here, it wouldn't surprise me if 17th and 18th end on the same amount of points. When I compare the two teams side by side, I don't think there's an awful lot in it. Leicester City do stand out as a decent team when it comes to going forwards. We've all said how good James Maddison is. They've got a few decent front players. Harvey Barnes is quite good as well. As for West Ham, they just really struggle for consistency. They are going strong in Europe, and I wonder if that could be a good thing or a bad thing. If they continue to go strong in Europe, it might breed positivity and they might get their crowd on side, and that could influence some results in the Premier League. The other way it could go is it could be a distraction. There's so many games here and West Ham just failed to pick up enough wins in the Premier League to get over the line. At this moment in time, because West Ham are in that bottom three, I know they've got a game in hand on most teams. I still think they need to win 4 of their final 12. And if I put Leicester City's goal difference next to West Ham's, it's quite close, but Leicester City might just survive. They've both got to play Manchester City still, and that could be very influential on who gets a worse goal difference come the end of the season. As for my bottom two, I've gone for Southampton in 19th and AFC Bournemouth in 20th place here, and I've gone for neither of them to be cut adrift. Neither of these are cut adrift at this moment in time. They are both a lot of people's favourites to go down at the moment, and I'm being a bit of a coward by sticking them in my bottom three, and I really do hope that they can survive. It'd be great to see either of these two stay up when everyone seems to be writing them off. I just look at Southampton, who've played a game more, and they have improved a little bit, but they need to improve a bit more just to get themselves above that dotted line. It wouldn't surprise me if they do jump above it at some point in this final 10 games, but they probably need to churn out 1.3 points per game from their final 10 games. I'm saying 13 points from their final 10 could be enough, as that would take them to 36. And I do see Southampton picking up a few more wins, but I just wonder if they're just going to come up a little bit short if the other teams just improve a little bit as well. AFC Bournemouth are my bottom pick, and I'm really struggling with Bournemouth here. It's just really hard to pick which Bournemouth team we're going to get for this final 10-11 games. If you get the team that beat Liverpool at home, the team that can just grind out results and get a clean sheet and get on the score sheet, then they might actually survive as well. But if you get the AFC Bournemouth that turned up at Villa Park the other day and lost 3-0, then I don't think they're going to survive it. They're just too inconsistent for me. I do like their approach of just trying to go for wins in their last 5 games. As I've said, they've won 2 and lost 3. That might be a better method than trying to draw a few games to get out. But I just wonder if Bournemouth might come up short, and I just don't know if Gary O'Neill is going to be the one to do it for them. So then, guys, there you have it. That is my prediction for how I think the Premier League bottom half will look when we get to the end of May. It is so close, and I really don't think it's going to shift too much because everyone keeps tripping over each other. But you get your thoughts down below, guys. Do you agree with my table? It's okay if you don't. Get your predictions down below. We won't know the answer until the end of May, of course. But do make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.